Many parents of teens have been reaching out to me and they're asking the same question. So I thought a Q&A is in order. If you've got a teen or a soon-to-be teen, you're going to want to hear these questions because the sex talks in the teen years are so different than the sex talks in the intermediate and middle school years. Should teens be allowed to be in the bedroom together with the door closed? My teen is making thirst traps and posting it to social media. How do I get them to stop? Should we be assuming our teens are watching porn? How do I make sure my teen doesn't become a sextortion victim? Should I give my teen a box of condoms? Should I remove the parental controls on my teen's phone before their 18th birthday? Teens want to make their own decisions, but they need a safe space and a safe adult to help them. But first, here are 3 assumptions that you need to keep in mind for this video. You know what the age of consent is for where you live, right? There are many countries and states where the age of consent to engage in sex has stipulations, but it is valid under the age of 18. So that's assumption number 1. There is no age of consent legal issues for the teens. Because you're shifting your language from having always said adults engage in sex and children do not, to now teens who can legally consent to sex. Assumption number 2 is that you know what's legal versus illegal. And if you aren't quite sure, you're willing to look it up. Explaining the legalities around sex is super important, but I would encourage you to do so in a way that helps your teen to critically think. So for example, if you were to say that it is legal for a 16-year-old consent to having sex with another 16-year-old, but it is illegal for a 16-year-old to consent to having sex with a 25-year-old. Instead of saying it like that, make it into a question where they can critically think about it and interpret the law. So then the rephrase here would be, can a 16-year-old consent to having sex with a 25-year-old? And then they would say no, and then you would say, why not? And so then now here is where you can shift the talk into talking about power dynamics or healthy versus unhealthy versus abusive relationships, or explaining why that scenario is grooming. And assumption number 3 is you know what the high school age range refers to, as I talk about age ranges in all of my videos. Here are the age ranges, and the high school age is 13, 14, and 15. But of course, you can continue having these talks beyond 15 years old. So with those assumptions being made, let's get into the questions. Question number 1. What's your recommendation? Should teens be allowed to be in the bedroom together with the door closed? So there comes a point in the high school age where your teen reaches the legal age of consent, and you have to acknowledge that they can legally consent to having sex. Now, whether you think they should be having sex, that's a completely separate issue. Legally, they are allowed to have sex. As a parent, you've got to ask yourself, am I okay with my teen having sex? However you answer that question, you then share that answer with your teen. So let's run through this together, okay? Let's say I ask you, are you okay with your teen having sex? And your response is, nope, I am not okay with my teen having sex. I would then ask you, why? Why not? And then you would give your response. Whatever your reason is, you have to share that reason with your teen. Your teen needs to hear the why you do not want them engaging in sex. And so here, if you said, I just feel that they're too young to be having sex. So take that and go with it. Why do you feel that they're too young? Is it because you're afraid that they might get pregnant or get someone pregnant or get an STI, and then that could impact their future goals and dreams? Or maybe you feel that they're too young because it's a religious or cultural or personal value that you uphold. So again, whatever your reasoning is, you have to be clear on what that is, and you have to share that with your teen. So the issue here isn't even really about the bedroom door and whether it should be open or closed. The issue is about your comfort, or lack thereof, around knowing your teen is having sex. So go ahead, answer the question, am I okay with my teen having sex? Question 2, my teen is making thirst traps and posting it to social media. How do I get them to stop? Okay, so thirst traps aren't new. They're just a new slang term for an age-old activity. And the activity is wanting others to find you attractive. Now, this is not just limited to teens, but we are focusing on teens here. So some teens really crave this. They want to be wanted. They want others to tell them how attractive they are. They attach value to this, and this can be their own value as a person, or it could be monetary, or it could be validation via social proof that others find them attractive. So for this question, the issue isn't really about the thirst trap itself. It's about having a talk about their sexuality and more specifically, their sensuality. It's a talk about their body image and their needs and wants for having others validate that they have a sexy body or are attractive. Now, I talk about this way more in depth in this video right here, where I break down how to talk to your teen about wanting to feel sexy versus wanting to have sex. You know, you can click on it and it's not going to take you to that video right now. It's simply just going to add it to like a wait list of videos. So after this video ends, like the next one in the wait list, it just starts playing for you. So feel free. Question 3, should we be assuming our teens are watching porn? If you're finding this video to be helpful, go on and let me know that by tapping that like button. There's a lot of things that we could be assuming about teens. But when it comes to this question, if you as a parent are feeling like, I think my teen is watching porn, you can go ahead and make this assumption as you continue to have the porn talks, because the stats are kind of in your favor. According to Common Sense Media, 73% of teens aged 13 to 17 have reported viewing online porn. So if we're at this point as parents, we are now beyond not wanting them to see it. We are now in the phase of the porn talk where we are helping them to critically understand what it is that they're seeing. This is the porn literacy part of the porn talk. This can be a really hard talk for many parents. Once you get to the teen years, it's not about teaching them what sex is anymore. It's about helping them to flex their underdeveloped prefrontal cortex brain muscles. Now, I did have a video here on YouTube that helped you to explain this part of the porn talk, but YouTube deemed it inappropriate based on their community guidelines. So I won't be making another one. This is one of the talks that I go really in depth on in my sex ed parenting course. And if you need just this part of the course, just how to have the porn talk, let me know that. I can do that for you. You can fill out the form that's linked in the description in the comments. And in the form, there's an additional comment section. You can simply write, I only need the porn talk part of the course. And I will send you an email with information on how to purchase just that part of the course. Question number 4, how do I make sure my teen doesn't become a sextortion victim? Now, if you're unsure what I'm talking about, let me bring you up to speed. Usually through social media, a person with a limited social media profile will start commenting or privately chatting with a teen. They will lie and say they're a teen too. They will build some form of trust, and it doesn't even take that long, and eventually ask for a naked picture of them. And as soon as the teen sends the naked image, the scam goes full speed ahead. They'll tell the teen that they'll post the pic online, or they'll send it to everybody in their contact list if they do not receive a certain amount of money in a certain amount of time. Unfortunately, this has been happening more and more frequently, and some teens are even committing suicide because they are so embarrassed and ashamed about the decision they made to send the naked image. They truly feel like they have no way out of this situation, and so they take control by taking control of themselves. As parents, one of the ways that we can help our teens is to move beyond talks of tricky people by the high school age. These people are good at scamming, and they are extorting large sums of money from teens all around the world. They're criminals, and they're targeting teens who have this lack of knowledge. Teens who have fallen victim to sextortion scams have said that they truly thought there was another teen on the other end of that chat. They just didn't know any better. So how do you avoid your teen from becoming another sextortion statistic? My recommendation is you have to talk about it, and you have to talk about the formula that criminals use over and over and over again. Question 5, should I give my teen a box of condoms? If you are a parent who's thinking about doing this, you're thinking about just giving your teen a box of condoms, I would recommend that you provide an educational lesson first and go over the correct steps to using a condom, because condoms can be highly effective at preventing pregnancy and STI transmission, but they need to be used correctly and consistently. And so now after you have that educational lesson where you teach them the correct steps to using a condom, I wouldn't recommend just giving them a box of condoms. What I would suggest is to tell them that in this drawer, there are condoms that I make available to you and your friends who are thinking about engaging in sex. And so then this way you can check the drawer from time to time and just replenish the condoms without having to ask, do you need more condoms? Question 6, should I remove the parental controls on my teen's phone before their 18th birthday? For many parents, they simply put the parental controls on their teen's phone. And then they're like, okay, I did that, so now I can delay having to have the sex talks. But parental controls do not replace the sex talks. If you decide to use parental controls, I want you to start thinking from the moment you go to put that parental control on their phone, how am I going to start reducing the amount of control on their phone so that they have full access to the internet by 18? Because if you're thinking, okay, at this next birthday, I'm going to remove these certain things from the parental control, so now they have access to that, that whole year leading up to that birthday, you're going to be preparing them. You're going to be educating them. You're going to be talking about it. And this is going to be empowering them to make healthy decisions because they know that they are going to be slowly getting the skills necessary to have full access to the internet. So yeah, by the time they're 18, the parental controls are now gone. And if you're interested in working with me in my program or in my 30 Days to Confidence intensive course, then you can find out more about that on my website, kathleenhema.com. So those are the questions I've been fielding a lot from parents of teens, and I'm happy to do a part 2. Just let me know your questions in the comments, or if you'd like me to do something similar for a different age group, let me know that as well.